Oh shit, ladies and gentlemen, how you doing up there? This is Intergalactic Interviews, and this is episode 165. What the fuck? How are you doing out there? What is your life like? Is it fantastic? I believe it's getting much better, isn't it? Look outside. Look out your goddamn window. It's improving. Look outside. It's amazing. Our days are getting better because there's more sunlight. Holy fuck, do I need vitamin D? Let's do this. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, because we want to use every single minute of this particular episode, my guest this evening is a man of many slashes, but a generally amazing human. Ladies and gentlemen, please give it up for Zach, a.k.a. Sketch Menace.
Hey.
How you doing, brother?
I'm doing very well, man. I'm doing very well. I'm enjoying the nice weather, as you said.
It is pretty decent. We've had more nice days in Vancouver in the last week than in the last fucking 4 months.
Yeah, you guys got it pretty good out here, man.
It's pretty good.
You guys, don't you live out here?
I've been out here since January 1.
Oh,
right?
okay.
I've spent time out here and done battles and stuff like that. But I just moved out here January 1 to do some work, and since then it's rained and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
but it's been steady,
classic.
10 degrees, beautiful, kind of whatever. And I come from a place where it's like minus 30. There's 2 feet of snow.
Totally. Well, C-Mart's actually from BC, so his views on weather are like pretty fucking crazy.
Well, I just know that it's,
I'm from Northwestern Ontario.
So you get me.
That's
you
right.
get what I'm saying.
Yeah. I prefer the cold.
Yeah, totally. So
give me
I'm originally from Toronto, so I know that, right? So it's 2 feet of snow, whatever. So when I'm back in Calgary, people are like, "Oh, it rains a lot out there."
Yeah.
I'm like, now that I've been here, it's like that's just something you say to deal with this cold and this snow, man. Like this rain is way easier to deal with.
I love a good cold snap. I love just eliminate the week.
It's an excuse to stay home.
I love it. Just crush a bunch of people. I should mention, for the benefit of our guests that may not be familiar, that our guest this evening, this day, whatever the fucking time you're listening to this show, his background is in battle rap. That's where you probably most know him. Mm-hmm. But most recently, you've taken some time away from that, and you've actually gone into some pretty cool ventures. I've been looking into future Grownup.
Yeah.
Now, why don't you tell our listeners in your own words, because I looked at this and I thought the concept was really cool, but I just want to hear your version.
Yeah, it's a tough thing, and it's even I've kind of strayed away from even trying to type it out when I'm talking to people, because it's just a lot, right? And it
is quite a bit.
I've always been like an art guy. Like if you go back and watch my battles and see like what I'm wearing, or even some of the stuff I reference, it's like the things that I and I think that's pretty consistent.
Yeah, you're a well put together guy.
Yeah, thanks, man. Yeah, I try to I'm very about aesthetic. I'm very about art. And especially, I'm very passionate about 90s grunge rap, hip hop scene, skateboarding, graffiti, whatever world, right? So essentially, Future Grownup is a collaboration of many ideas or things that I already like that I kind of just put into one package. So what we do is we take large-scale paintings, 5 foot by 4 foot acrylic on canvas paintings, and then we remove the painting from that canvas, or from the frame, rather. Remove the canvas from the frame. We cut that up into 110 pieces. The original painting. The actual painting.
So it's carved up into these equal sizes.
Into these equal squares, yeah. So into 110 individual sizes.
Okay.
Like
individual pieces. Yeah, but in a square. Right?
Yeah, I understand.
Not like
trying to obfuscate the thing. Yeah.
So and each drop that we do, each time that we do this is a collaboration with one specific artist. Right. So they complete the painting. We take that painting, then we remove it from the frame, and then we cut it up into those 110 individual pieces.
The original painting.
The original piece, the real painting.
I like that. I like that.
And then I know, and that's always the part of the story where it's like people go, oh, so you take a print and then you do this, and I'm like, nah.
No. That's the
real
OG
one.
painting.
And then what we do is, so I hand over those squares to our sewist, Crow Potter, and what they do is they serge each piece of just like you would a fabric, and then you fold it into a pocket square, and and we fixate those onto T-shirts. So you're wearing a literal piece of the painting, literally.
That's pretty
cool.
cool.
That's awesome. Now you.
So it's like a birthday cake.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, like you're cutting off a piece. So I like to think of it as...
so everyone can enjoy it?
Yeah, it's like... Well, what it is there's a disparity in art, right? Like you don't have the wall space versus how much money you make versus an artist having the time to create it versus... You know what I mean? And, so how do you do this, right?
Totally.
So in my opinion, or the best way that I've come up with so far that I'm putting up in the world is to cut an original piece up into 110 pieces and give... and create a use for it. Obviously, not just like giving them a piece and saying, here you go. And saying that that this is a reminder that you're a part of a bigger picture, you know, that. And saying that, and it's sometimes I even struggle with the words on it's. You cut it up out of we take the 110 pieces, we put those onto the shirts, and you have it as a piece for it, and then it's for the price of a print, right? Mm-hmm. So you get a piece of an original, and you share that with your community, and I think that's important because art originally, like Da Vinci would have kicked it with the greatest thinkers of his time, things like that, politicians and educators and whatever, and nowadays art is like, it's something that everybody values because Instagram is valuable, but Instagram is free. And art has been this thing where like the value is still there in society, but from a fiscal point of view, it's really not there, or even from a, and
also movement is like different, right? Like,
exactly.
You don't get like someone that's like changing thought, and if you do, that's a very unique artist.
And if you look back on history, you guys, or even up to today, you have guys from like Warhol to Basquiat and Keith Haring and to like all like to the Frank Koziks and the Causes and the Ron Englishes of the world today, right? Where it's like these guys are making it to levels where they can. I mean, Cause and others are billionaires, like millionaires, but like there's a few of them that are still struggling, but considered rock stars in my world, right?
Yeah.
But from a financial standpoint, and to me, that I find that weird, right?
That is weird,
you know, and I think I equate it a lot to how kids talk to me about battles, because they always come up to me and they go like, "Oh, you got a job?" And I go like, yeah. It's like, when's the last time you paid for a YouTube video? And they're like, never. And I'm like, I get 100% of that. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, it's a pretty sweet check. And that's kind of how I realized in the art world, right? And went like, oh, like all these guys that I look up to and I think are so talented and brilliant are just struggling, just like me in their little world and doing that stuff. And then I went, like I'm pretty good at figuring things out in terms of like from a business side of things, I guess, or whatever, just infrastructure and whatever. So I always had the idea to, and I was always a fan of collecting blind box things like dunnies, and, collectibles, hockey cards, even when you're a kid, and like all that kind of stuff, right? It's like I identified heavily with that part of childhood. So what this is like is my own way of taking like, my interest in fashion and aesthetic and branding and marketing and just, pop culture as a whole today, mixed with which is where Future Grownup comes from, like how I felt as a child. So it's meant to encapsulate how to appreciate art as if you were a child with the quality that you've come to expect as an adult.
Dude, right. Are you glad that I didn't? I'm so glad.
So
I was like, let me explain this.
So we cut up the shirt. Yeah. So but I should say that it's 110.
But are there not some parts of the shirt that are better than others? Like, does someone get the edges? Does someone get the edge?
That's the game. Well, no. This is a way where it's each one is different. So each one is 1 of 1 or 1 of 110, depending on how you look at it. When we commission the art, we make it discernible 5-inch by 5-inch section. So we make sure that you're not getting like a blue pocket.
Well, that's what I'm wondering. If someone gets this like some weird foot.
But that's what it is. Like, remember when you collected hockey cards as a kid or whatever, and you got doubles?
Sure.
And you got things, but then you got the Grail. Every one time. Yeah. And then it was just like your life came together in that moment. You did a Ryu uppercut through the ceiling. You know what I mean? Like that's what I want that to like. I want to do. I want to do that. And there's a lot of things that I collected.
So there's rarity involved.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And it's not so much about rarity in the sense that like we only made so many. It's that this is a piece of a painting. And there's 110 of them, and we don't have a problem selling them. If you want to be a part of this, I'd love for you to be a part of this. But if you don't, then cool. I truly would rather you not.
Dude, I love this. I love that there's an exclusivity behind it.
But it's but again, just to reiterate, like that the exclusivity is like, I'm a fan of Supreme and Palace and all these like companies that are really pushing the exclusivity factor in their stuff. But like, and I get it. And from a business standpoint, I like it, and from the history standpoint, I like it. But
but they're putting out like hammers.
Yeah, I know, but I think it's still. I love that stuff. I think it's very tongue in cheek, right? And I think that it's perfect for what they do. I think that they know who they are. right? And I think that they know who they aren't, which is which is just as important,
That's
right?
Fair.
And I think that they do them well.
Yeah.
And so even though Future Grownup as a brand may not carry the same values, I do look up to them in that sense. But what I like about it is that it's not like that. It's not it's not exclusive because we only printed so many.
Right.
It's done because I can only get an artist to make so much. And then to wrap it all up, the way that they're packaged is in a blind box form, so you don't know which part of the painting that you're getting from it. And then each shirt comes with a signed and numbered print of what the entire painting looked like, so you're able to discern which part that you got. Nice. And then we throw other goodies and things like that. There's a golden ticket in each drop as well.
A little Willy Wonka
prizes and things. Yeah.
Nice.
And like,
what do you get with the golden ticket?
we make it specific to each artist, so we let the artist choose. We just go like, what would you like to give away? We'll pay for it. We'll do all this stuff. Just like I want you to make something cool that we're going to give away to somebody, and then
something worth getting.
So if you find a golden ticket in the thing in your pocket, then you put the code in on our website in the back and put in your shipping address, and we'll send you something sweet.
Nice.
Did you wear some of Future Grownup in your pseudo battle versus disaster?
No, I didn't. But people often ask that, and they go, "Which one's that from?" And I go, that's just a Huff shirt that I thought was dope. But like, it inspires lots of it. Where it's like, it's Huff did something similar, right? Where they took one giant piece of fabric and they would make all of their pockets from it, and then if they had like a strip left or whatever, they would make a tie out of it. They would do this. They would do that, right?
Nice.
I always thought that was really cool.
That's
right?
clever.
Yeah, and it's clever. And it's cool, and it's not something that's like
it's a good use of the
you're
material.
You're not trying to sell stuff. You're using the material. It also gives me an exclusivity factor. And not so much that they printed so many, but because they worked from this one sheet. And it's like it has a story. Excuse me. There's this value that is intangible. Yeah. Right? And that's what I like about things. People walk into the store or like a store and they go like, oh, it's $500 for a brick. And you go like, and they're like, it's not worth that. And it's like, it's worth as much as someone's willing to pay.
What clay was it molded from?
It's like real estate. We were just talking about before the show there. It's worth as much as a reasonable person's willing to pay.
The whole, I just want to say this just based on what we were just saying. The idea of a marketplace totally establishing itself based on that, it's just like a thought form. It's like what we think it is, rather than, like who would pay, responsibly like $500 for a Supreme brick or clothes iron or something like that. Right? You'd be like, what the fuck is this? But someone out there wants to do it. They're gonna go for it. They're gonna, and you as a business, you're not going to miss out on that opportunity. You're obviously going to sell them what they want.
No, and I don't want to, I don't want to characterize Future Grownup as something that wants to make bricks and put it up for a stupid price tag.
No, I think you made that. That's a good distance from that.
Yeah, totally. Okay.
No. I think I guess what I'm trying to point out is just like, thank you very much. I think what I want to point out is the realm of like clothing, selling clothing. And in 2018, it's so difficult. I have minority shares in a clothing company, a streetwear company, and I know in between collections how fucking hard it can be when you put a collection out. It might be hot, and then like a year or two in between, and you have to reintroduce to the whole market, and you're like, fuck, like how. When does this get easier?
Right? It's a creative battle. It's a financial battle.
Yeah. And there's no angle from what I'm describing, like what you're saying. Like when you're like, oh, we have like Willy Wonka fucking golden tickets, and
I'm trying to make it fun.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like that is really cool. I really love that, man.
Thank you.
That's really cool. I really got to get that across to you, because sometimes I think our best ideas are often just like, even though they're out there, it's like they don't really get the best fucking shine. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right. Well, it's you want to give people an experience.
Yeah.
And it's like, and I hate how it's like you buy things and then that's the experience is the exchange of money.
Yeah,
and it's like
that shouldn't be it.
It's like that's lame.
Yeah.
Like it's like I want to have someone hold this and carry this and love it. Yeah, it's bigger than that, right? It's like, sure, the money is the thing. Like we need to operate, but like that's secondary to what we're trying to accomplish out of this situation.
Further to that point, I would say is like, you know what? Further, I should say to my point earlier, like the idea that we could talk battle rap for like forever.
Never,
yeah, it'd be easy just to go into a million things here. I don't even really want to talk.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
It's because like, check it out. I want people, if they're listening or watching this, I want them, if they are already familiar with you, I don't want them to listen to you rehash a bunch of stuff that can go, listen on Ruin Your Day or something like that, or something like that. It's like you have a lot of really cool angles, but there's a lot of cool shit you're doing lately. Like you've been on the low for like a little while, and I'm sure people are like, "What the fuck?" Like, what's going on?
I went under a rock for a bit. I well, I mean, for those of you who don't know, like I'm a dad now.
Oh, congratulations!
I did not know that. Congratulations!
Thank you. Yeah, I'm
like to a child, or
to a child. Yeah, exactly. Not to a battle rap scene.
I don't know. I don't know what the alternative is, but I just thought I would clarify.
Dude, touche though, my friend.
Yeah, what a bar though.
Yeah, what a bar. Exactly.
Set that right up. Yeah, like, do a whole scene.
Yeah, totally. So yeah, I mean, again, like I spent my 20s battle rapping and traveling the world, making fun of my friends. Which is a weird thing to do, and I always kind of wanted, like, even though that's amazing, I always kind of wanted more out of life in terms of like what not so much what I could put in front of a camera making fun of people. Like I've just, I don't know, there's stuff that I wanted to contribute to the world, man.
Yeah.
And so Future Grown-Up's that way. And when I took a step back from battling was at a time where I don't think I was getting a lot out of it, or I was giving it a lot even. And I think that the two are kind of work together. I wasn't giving it what I was supposed to, and I was in a position where I was supposed to be, and kids were like, and whether or not I felt like I deserve, or I had to do it, or like something was owed to me or something like that.
I can help out with this because it's better when it comes from someone else. But like I can attest as a fan of the whole thing, the whole scene, everything. I can say that I've always felt that you didn't really get a fair shake. Now, whether that stems from anything substantial to anyone, I don't know. I can't speak for anyone, but I always felt like you didn't get a fair shake. I think maybe initially it may have came from your affiliation with like
Holohan.
A lot of this, because I think initially I remember people be like,
it was the worst thing because the affiliation put me on in a lot of ways.
But it's like, is he ghostwriting for him? That kind of stuff, like that kind of shit. And I don't think the scene was even mature enough to even understand how like bar pools like that were like where you know what I mean, like,
well,
like,
yeah, at that time it was like, I looked at like, it was like the freestyle world, like you came with writtens or like this and that and
that's
stuff,
right,
and like
yeah.
you didn't get, and it's like, it's like that whole Arcane scandal with Caustic and stuff. It was like,
right.
I remember being like, honestly, if there was no money exchanged, it would have been any other battle.
Yeah,
like everybody's talking back
battle,
and forth and stuff like that for it. Like, you know what I mean? It's there's not a battler that I can think of that I don't know. And it's not even a bad thing. Like, you brainstorm, you talk, guys. Like, you came with ideas. That's how creativity works.
It'd be crazy if you didn't.
I know, you'd be insane.
Yeah. Like,
I remember, it's so funny because I've come up to guys that we put on like lower dudes in the division or whatever, and then they'll come up to me and I'll ask them. I usually ask them like, who did you show this before coming here? And they'd be like, oh, no one. And be like, so there's your first mistake.
Yeah.
So you're gonna want to show someone this beforehand.
Just bounce some ideas.
Yeah, and just see what they think.
Yeah, steel sharpens steel. A lot of the people that don't understand, you cut your teeth based on the people in the room. Like, if you're the best person in the room.
Well, no, and I cut my teeth based on people, and I think that honestly, I can attest a lot of my success, or at least like was driven by spite because of people saying that like, oh, Holohan rode for me or this and that and things like that. And then he was the champ and people would always compare me. So I was like, I'm gonna be the fucking champ. Then. Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? Like, like Jeff's my homie, but it was always like, you know what I mean? Like, there's that competition, right? And I was like, all right, I'll be the champ then.
It's a respectful
thing.
You
know what I mean? Yeah. So it's like, I'm the champ and like I did all these things and now I'm doing things and it's like, what's up? You know what I mean? So it's like, I think it was it's a greatest weakness and a strength at the same time. I think that comparison pushed me.
Of course, I think there's no way it couldn't have.
We're going off on tangents, my bad.
We are. By the way, this is us not talking about battle rap.
Yeah, totally. No, let's talk about fucking battles for sure. But for anyone,
Okay, totally. Please step.
We'll do a soundbite for future grown-up stuff or something.
Please. That's so good. I'm like, let's not talk about battle rap. Anyway, here's why. I feel
first things first about battle rap.
Yeah. Anyway, you didn't get fair.
No, I'm cool. This is a funner conversation to have about battle rap. Honestly, I usually. This is a fun. No, I want to hear your. I want you to finish your thought.
Well, because so I think you didn't really get a fair shake, and I think a lot of it some of it didn't really get respected.
Can you
enough.
define that? Just because I don't know if everybody knows maybe the history of this.
Well, I guess if you're not familiar, at the time when Sketch was really coming up, when you're coming up, there was the beginnings of the cross-pollination between Grind Time and King of the Dot. Grind Times was a
the
US
former big league.
Yeah,
US,
exactly, yeah, and it had basically come up a little bit before King of the Dot, but King of the Dot was.
Grind Time was one of the leagues that like was responsible. It like came up alongside the internet.
Yeah, like,
the first 100,000 viewed battle was on Grind Time.
Yeah,
and now 100,000 views ain't shit.
Yeah,
and it was like version 2 of like the Elements League, like in that. So like when Elements was like dead, then Grind Time, that format kind of built up.
Well, and there was also the WRCs in between that.
Sure,
and,
yeah,
like, and other.
I would think that even
different formats, but yeah, I feel you.
I think like those even represent like a whole era before. Like we were talking earlier, like the freestyle era. Yeah, and then
but that was the WRCs represents the era of freestyling to written.
That's true. Right. A lot of the pre-meds and people were calling people up for.
Well, that was the whole thing about it, right? And then that was pretty much when battles started after the WRCs. Where we were like, all right, fuck it, we're just gonna write.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Like, if you're gonna give me a month to think about my opponent, then I'm gonna basically, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So with that timeline set, when you were coming up, a lot of the cross-pollination that was happening between, there was the kind of like loaning battlers between leagues, and people were, these battles are being set up. You were going against guys like, probably easy for me to just bring up because Dan's been on the show before, but Sketch versus Dirtbag Dan. Now I remember watching that, and I was like, okay, here it comes. This is like fucking dope because I love watching both of you guys. I remember when Dirtbag, like I remember when Dan battled Jack Shit, and I remember watching that battle, and I remember thinking like,
the name?
Yeah, and I remember thinking like trying not to be biased, and then being like, I think Jack got fucking jerked in this battle.
100% did.
Yeah.
Fuck you, Dan.
And then Dan having like his own feelings about that, and then
Dan takes things so personally.
Yeah, well, like the way that went down. So then I was like, okay, this is gonna be fucking great because like you and Dan battled, and it was a World Dom, right?
Yeah, World Dom 1.
Yeah, which the whole theme of that card, I guess originally was supposed to be, all the World Doms are supposed to be.
It's like an Olympics kind
basically,
of thing.
like an international.
It's supposed to almost be like a low key racist fun time. You know what I mean? Like it's like it's so hard to not describe it as that, dude. But it's obviously not racist. But but just World Dom is this thing. For those of you who don't understand what world domination is, and I guess it's how you want to describe it. And I don't run away from the term in that.
That's
way.
The best
and
way
I'll
I've heard it.
I'll describe why. It's because, man, I've been a part of reckless organizations in my life, and ones that pretend to have values and ideals and things like that. And you have King of the Dot is one where, like, I've sat at World Dom 1 where we have the Philippines and Sweden and Canada and the States and all Australia, all these crazy countries involved from all over the world. And at the end of the day, we're all making fun of each other for being Australian, for being Filipino, for being Canadian, for being this, like this and that. And so it's all discriminatory, very offensive subject matter at the end of the day, right? Like if you just were to say those things on the street, you would cause a scene, it would go viral, it would be a thing, right?
Chaos.
Like it would be bad. It would be bad. So, but this is a place where it's like all of us people are like getting around and celebrating our difference in a very counterintuitive way, right? Where we make fun of it and then we laugh and hug each other after, and we're better friends after it.
That's good, yeah.
And I'm not trying to say that everybody's built to withstand that type of abuse or anything like that, but I think that it's very profound in a very lowbrow way, and
I don't even think I think you have to even.
So just to describe, what world domination is like. So like if you watch any battle that's from the World Domination series, you'll get that whole vibe that it's very like, country versus country in a rap battle.
But nationalist?
Yeah, exactly. But like if you're only, exactly, right? But if you're not competing in an Olympic level where you have a sport or things like that to prove who's better, then what are you going to do? You're going to make fun of each other's character and your country.
Clothes,
and World Dom and stuff like that. It being World Dom, it makes it like that much more contextually relevant, right? So
and it's interesting because that type of card, like World Dom, it doesn't it's only one card of the year. But people that just tune in for that, they don't realize that like the show goes on. So like by the time you get to World Dom, you versus Dirtbag Dan is like, there's a lot more subtext there than anything. It's like, it's not just Canada versus US. It's like, okay, like grind time, KOTD. It's also like two guys that are fucking running streaks. It's two guys that are like, there's a whole bunch of all this subtext beyond it. So I always thought you didn't get a fair shake because like that battle didn't turn out the way you wanted it. And I think because of that world stage, quote unquote, when that was looked at, it was all this subtext came through and they're just like, fuck, man, what's going on? I think people rolled against you on that. And
it was everything. It was like anything that I did before that didn't matter.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. It's exactly what I'm trying to say, because they don't see that you were like holding it down for a whole fucking city. They don't see that you were like behind the scenes fucking putting things together, that you were like literally taking on promoter responsibilities.
Well, dude, we all learned how to be promoters.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah,
like,
you know what I mean?
I look back on it now and I go like, I guess I am a promoter now.
Yeah.
And they're like, I always thought you had to go to like do some shit to be able, like, honestly, you don't, man. You just got to go out and do it.
Do it and learn,
like,
and just learn.
That's what we did.
Yeah.
Like, I don't remember. I just remember, like, I guess we'll print some posters.
And we'll pay someone to paste them, or do it yourself.
Well, yeah, we did it ourselves for the first little while. I remember the day where I was like, so I can pay someone to do this, eh?
Save myself some
dollars.
Exactly.
No, but man, I appreciate you even noticing that.
Totally. Yeah.
I always felt, man, like I said, the coyness about battle rap, because I think that comes from me being like, I don't really think anybody cares about this. It was always something that I didn't.
That's another thing too. You're one of my favorite characteristics about you is just how different you approach this from a lot of people. Like a lot of people approach. Like
they're celebrities?
Yeah, like day one though. Like the day fucking one.
Isn't that a move though? Sorry. Isn't that like
it can
a move
be
when like you walk into the room and you just like own, like you just like you project that kind of energy?
But it only works.
Yeah, but you can do that. You can do that in ways without being an asshole.
Yeah.
Oh, sure.
C-Mart, that only works. That only works if you're in a room where people don't do that. But if you're in a room where everyone's doing that, then you're just like, people think you're kind of played a little bit.
Exactly. I've always kind of felt like walked into battle room, not everyone, and obviously, and I have a lot of friends in this.
I like the idea of a battle room.
Yeah,
by the
well,
way.
you walk in a room full of battlers. And then like, and I'm kind of like scratching my head, like, I don't know how to talk to anybody here.
Yeah.
Because everybody's like putting on this whole thing.
Their shoulders.
You know what I mean? Got their whole thing going. And I'm like, I go up like, hey man, and they're like, and they give me some weird response. I'm like, okay, man, like, you know what I mean, or like whatever.
Yo, you wearing that? You're like, okay, what is
like?
Oh man, and you don't even want to know. Like, it's like, listen, bro, listen. Some of the motherfuckers in battle rap that come up to me like, you're wearing that, and I'm like,
that is the least of your worries about what I'm wearing.
No, and I'm thinking it's not even that, bro. It's like you clearly have no sense of fashion or style. None. You have no like. I'm happy if you don't like what I'm wearing, but my shit is hella culturally relevant.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like, and
so
on fucking point, you can hate that. Yeah, straight up, bro. Oh man, we're gonna have an argument against these guys' fucking ripped up DVS jeans and Fat Farm sweats and shit. Like, fuck off. Like,
he's real.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. It's just like I'm pretty quiet in battle rooms, and it's just like, okay, man, I've had enough when it comes to like.
Is it like an Ender's Game battle room where you gotta it's stupid. Anyway.
C-Mart, you see that though? So that's the totally opposite angle. So he goes in with like. Because I've heard you say this, that where you're like, I didn't even really want to make a thing of this. Like the game, like at the end of it, you're like, you're doing it to do it. You're not doing it because like the end goal is to be Tupac or some shit like that.
Whatever, man. I always thought it was fun.
Yeah, which people gravitate towards, man, because like the guys that are like on the sidelines. Like, I don't know, like the fucking murder mooks of the fucking scene.
I just saw a video of him talking about flat Earth the other day.
I saw it. Did you see that fucking thing he put up? It's like all the religions.
Pays that man money again, shame on them. Shame on them.
I saw Caustic being like, if you ever wanted to know, this man's fucking retarded. And he put up the
Shouldn't use that word. Shouldn't use that word.
Anyway, you're looking like the fucking Verizon guy telling me I can't fucking
shame on them. Whoever gives Murda Mook money.
He sits on the sidelines and is like, I want 200 million racks. You're just like 200 million.
Yeah, he's like the Dr. Evil of battle rap. He just like spits out these numbers. I want $7,500 million.
Yeah, you're just like, for what? They're like, for 3 rounds.
Yeah,
you're like, what? What the fuck? Yeah, like that. The opposite of that though, where you're just like, it's cool, man. Like I'm just here to fucking kill it, and then being successful at it, winning a championship. winning and cementing like a legacy in that. Like no matter what, no matter where you go down the world, that's it. It's in the books.
Yeah, and that's the way I look at it now.
That's how I can see why you'd be like, I'm good.
Yeah, I don't really care.
And like right now,
I'm here to have fun now. Anything that happens, honestly, at the end of the day, anything that I'm doing at this point is for Vancouver. I want to see the Vancouver scene be better. Battle rap gave me confidence in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Gave me a lot in life. Like being at the right place at the right time and knowing the right people to get into the place where I was in King of the Dot and to be where I am now because of it. I'm very grateful for that.
Yeah.
Despite all of the hardships and bullshit and things that have happened throughout the years. I really am. And I've leveraged, maybe leveraged isn't the right word, but I've used a lot of relationships and people that I've met throughout King of the Dot and stuff to help me build projects like Future Grownup and other things since then. I'll always be grateful for that. And if it weren't for kids coming up to me or people telling me stories that they care, reminding me that I'm like, I guess people cared about this.
Yeah, dude.
Like, you know what I mean?
You can get caught up pretty quick.
You know what I mean? I guess
not
so.
thinking
And
about
like
it.
it's just and I you know, for a while I undervalued that, and so now I want to give back. So like I want to do the Real Deal battle here, which we'll talk about, I guess, here like March 31st, and like I want to give back to the community, and I want to set a good standard here because like right now we came up at a time where we had to fight for everything we had when it comes to battle rap. There was no business plan to map out. There was no nothing or anything, right?
Yeah.
It was like we're just doing this. And now there's all these kids who are following a format, figuring out hosting, doing all these things like that are, you know, following a rubric that for the most part was created by not me, but like, you know, my generations or even the predecessors of that, right?
Yeah.
People in the scene.
I get it.
Exactly. Yeah. And I see a lot of people out there getting footage and thinking that they're tough celebrity shit off of like 3,000 views, if that, on things and stuff, just because you've got a piece of footage out there and stuff. Yeah. And I'm like, man, we used to just, when I was freestyling back in the day, it would be like people just know your name. There was no footage, and you just heard, right? You just heard about this motherfucker killed it.
But I think that's an important distinction, is that like footage is now easy.
Exactly.
Like in the sense that like the fact that you filmed it is like, I mean, like, you better have filmed it. The fact that you're not filming it would be ludicrous.
Exactly.
Now, right?
Yeah,
and
nowadays,
previously, it's like, oh, you filmed it, you had access to that.
Yeah,
like,
there's
that
another...
that would be like, you'd be lucky to have someone capture that. So like, if anything, it's almost not even, I think I understand what you're saying, but it's almost not even comparable. Like having footage is almost just simply being recorded now. You know what I mean? Like,
I guess it's probably comparable in that, like, I guess late 90s, early 90s, mid 90s. If you were like, I'm in a band, people would be like, oh, crazy. But then
now it's a buzzword.
But then you'd be like, and we have an album. And
that's like being a rapper now.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Sure, yeah. It's just rapping.
I'm a DJ.
Which is You're like, Zach, what's your SoundCloud?
Yeah, exactly. I don't even have a SoundCloud.
Exactly. You're like,
I don't know.
I don't, because I don't want to.
I don't do that. Yeah, like I post pictures on Instagram of things that I think are funny.
Oh, so you're a photographer.
And exactly. It's like, no, I like take. Yeah, exactly. It's like I take photos and stuff. You know, exactly. It's like a lot of titles, but
yeah, man. I'm being reductionist.
No, of course. I know. I get what you're saying though, and I appreciate what you're saying too, man. I do.
That's what I'm trying to say. Like,
I always thought that we weren't really making an impact, and then, and I guess in hindsight's 2020, you look back on it and go like, oh, I guess, you know, it makes sense.
Yeah.
But I always just felt like we were having fun with our friends, and there was so much hate that we got back in the day, people making fun of us, especially from the rap community and stuff. And we were just like, yeah, whatever, man. We're just having fun. Like, I don't know what to tell you. At the end of the day, that's kind of where the conversation ends.
It's weird how that's come around.
Yeah, and now everybody wants to be a part of battles and stuff, right? And I go like, and I'm still kind of sitting over here like, really? Like it's pretty fun, but like, you know, I mean, you guys seem to be killing it.
Seems like a lot of work.
It's a ton of work, man.
Yeah,
it's a ton of work.
Especially like MD was describing it to me previously about like just like the evolution of like kind of come and like make fun of some whatever, but then now it's like, hey, you got to do some background check on some people. You got to kind of like
it depends on how you want to approach things.
Sure.
I was explaining basically
he was schooling me on some shit.
Scribble Jam all the way to WRCs and then into the proliferation we just described with Grind Time and KOTD and URL. But
nowadays you don't really have to worry about that. Characters and things have built to the point where like
they put it out there waiting for you to tear it down.
And even for me as a viewer, if somebody like goes out and makes this like big fallacy about some guy doing some crazy thing, I like 9.9 times out of 10, I'm like, this is some contrived angle that this person probably was working off 2% fact on, and then just made a whole, you know what I mean? Like,
I like,
and it's fine. And even it's funny because it's like when you play it off as real, that's when I stop liking it. Even if you were to make it funny and just stupid, just be stupid. And just have fun.
I see.
And we'll have fun.
That's why when
I see. That's cool.
Guys like Fresco do gun bars or soming, I'm just like, this is entertaining because I know he thought
this is hilarious.
He's like, I don't own a gun. You know what I mean? Like I love the idea of it.
No, and Fresco's thoroughly talented and stuff, and I'm not really a fan of the whole like, you should rap about what you do.
Yeah, that was a poor example. I shouldn't have said that. But like what I really mean is just like, like it's that there's this schism right now where it's like, should it be believable? Or should it just be purely entertainment? Anyone that rolls on the left of that, like where it's like, oh, it should be so hard, like believable. I think that is like a mistake. I think you're kind of shortchanging the experience.
I think you're putting in a box at a point where it's not supposed to be in a box. It's just like, listen, if you watch it and you're entertained and you laugh, then it's good.
Yeah.
And like, there's no more rules. Yeah. Like that's just like Carter Deems can go out and break every single rule that we ever thought that we had. Yeah. And it's the most entertaining thing that we've ever seen.
So good.
So it comes down to like, is it funny? You know?
You love Carter. By the
way, it's like a fart joke. It's funny. It's funny.
Yeah.
C-Mart, you'd love Carter Deems, by the way. Remind me to show you some.
Oh, we were quoting so much stuff the other night when he says, I can't remember it's like the third bar in it. I can't remember this first. It says something with a bipolar bear. Like, I'm a grizzly and black. That's a bipolar bear. I go to the zoo and buy polar bears, and then I let them go like bipolar bears. and like, that's hilarious. Like, it's amazing.
Like,
or my favorite ever is. Forcing a rhyme, that's something that I would never do because I'm a rhyme true clever dude. And I remember
rhyme true clever dude.
And I remember doing that's amazing. That's so funny.
You couldn't have set up this next fucking story any better.
Cool.
So speaking of forcing a rhyme, literally on my
sounds like a solid like rap group name.
Forcing a rhyme.
Yeah, it's got to exist.
Maybe like 1991.
Yeah, no, guaranteed it exists somewhere.
Yeah,
out there
it totally
now.
does.
There's a battle league out there called Universal Battle Realm.
Is there?
Yeah,
Battle Realm.
I remember being like, I'm sure it's good. Like, I'm not trying to throw shade on it, but it's just like just to throw the name thing out there, be like,
nice.
Check us out. So on my way to come do the podcast tonight, I get this text message from C-Mart, and he's just like, hey, I just got to our pre-drinking spot around the corner here. He's like, I mentioned we're having Sketch Menace on the show to the bartender. He always asks. So he's like, hey, what's on the show tonight? He's like, yeah, we're having Sketch Menace on the show. And he's like, some guy at the bar was like, really? And he's like, really? So I was like, oh, that's good. And then he's like,
tell me about Sketch Menace.
Yeah, tell me about Sketch Menace. So then, like C-Mart's like, no, he's like, well, here's what I know, and like tells him a bit about you. And then the guy's like, yeah, cool. He's like, I battle rap too. He's like, really? He's like, really? He's like, I don't do it much anymore though. And he's like, really? Well, who is this? And I already know the answer in my head. I'm just like, I already know who the fuck this is gonna be. And it turns out it's Mr. Josh Hook.
It's Aspire.
It's Aspire.
Just down the street just now.
Yeah. And he specifically was like, I
actually said you might be coming by to the bar, but you didn't anyway.
Oh man.
He was like, he might show up.
He was like, oh, would you? So when I showed up, he came right up. He was like, hey, MD, what's going on, man? And we chatted for a minute, and he's like, I didn't even know you had a podcast. And I was like, I'm pretty sure we've talked about this before. And he's like, no. So we chatted for a minute, and then he's like, make sure you tell Sketch. I say, what's up? What's up? I like to link up and all that.
Dope, man. That's awesome.
Good. Yeah, nice. People always bring up that battle here. Yeah, because that line you had about like we get it.
It rhymes. Yeah, like, I just reused that a little while ago against TVP and Smoked Out battles. Jesus. It dropped. The video dropped
today.
Yeah, you should go watch it.
Go fucking watch that today.
Yeah, totally. Me versus. It's actually a good one. For a little, I really wanted to give, like I was to attest to what I was saying before. I really want to show kids what's up.
Yeah,
this is what quality is.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And so not to say that, like, to put me on some pedestal of quality, but to say that like. Don't just write something and come out here and rap it. Like, it's like, man, footage exists forever, and you will grow, and you will look back on this, and you will hate it one day. Be proud of what you say, Like be, you know,
don't be scared of saying it.
Yeah, be proud.
Yeah.
Be proud of what you say. Well, like no, I really look at that as like, am I going to look back on this and go like, am I proud of this? Like, or was this to garner some sort of reaction or attraction or things like that? Did I take a shortcut? Did I take a shortcut? Exactly.
I mean, I couldn't possibly underline this anymore, but yeah, like put yourself on camera for an hour every week,
which is not easy.
Like I'll tell you,
Jesus,
like the self-conscious, you're like, oh, I need to fucking hit a treadmill.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, you get over it. I hate it because did you see my escalation about it? You saw me.
By the way,
fat.
so you were like fat.
Yeah, I was fat. I was super fat, bro. Big fat Zach, man. Wow. I was like fat, dude.
You were.
I got up to 230. Was my heaviest.
How tall are you though?
I'm 5'10", 5'11" in the morning.
Okay, it's a great height.
You know?
It's only a couple inches taller than me, which is an average height.
Yeah, what do you weigh?
Yeah,
140 something.
Yeah, so I had 100 pounds on you.
God
damn. You know, 95 pounds on you. So I just got fat. You know,
Berta lifestyle.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of beef. You know,
crazy.
A lot of oil.
Yeah,
relationship gut. You know, kind of shit. But no, I guess I don't know, man. And then I just
saw footage of you when you like the first stuff I saw when you came back.
Yeah,
I was like, what the fuck? Like it looked
60
like
pounds later.
Yeah, looked like the lanyard was wearing you. Basically,
totally.
I was like, this guy.
Cool. Actually, I got a diabetes check. I was losing weight so fast.
Jesus Christ.
I thought it was crazy. But I'm one of those guys that gets really obsessive about things when I get into it.
Yeah.
With Future Grownup, I buried myself in a hole and I got obsessed with sampling boxes and shirts and paintings and this and watch tests and
you know exactly what you're talking about when you were saying what was I don't even know the word you used earlier when you were saying like the process when you take it and the folding. I don't. You're like there's something when you give it to the.
I get it's just what I do, a sewist and all those things.
So I was like, sewist.
I read a lot, but I get very obsessed. I get very OCD with like something that drives me for it. So like battle rap was that thing. When I found it, I was like, oh, this is cool.
Yeah.
And I dove into it so hard, and I gave it everything that I had. Like anything that I had to give, I got put into battle rap for those years, right?
Yeah.
And that's kind of the same thing that I put into Future Grownup, and the same thing that I do with why were we even talking about this?
I think I specifically was trying to make you feel good.
Yeah. But we were,
no.
But it was. I appreciate that. About the just monotony and making sure that the product is good,
right?
And just like
right,
and doing that. I don't remember what brought us.
I think I was. You know what? I don't really remember.
I don't remember.
But it doesn't matter.
No one knows.
A nugget of information.
It doesn't matter. Though.
Yeah, exactly.
It doesn't matter because I guess everything that's coming into this conversation though is just like it's showing so much growth though. Like
thanks,
the whole idea behind all of this though is that you're just trying to contribute as you always have, but now like on a more concentrated level where you're like I'm just going to contribute to the growth of this shit. A lot of people that just are kind of in it for themselves and then they back away.
You're not going to get much.
Right.
Like that's what I don't get.
Ever.
What are you getting?
I don't know.
I think if you get to go home and have a bunch of people Facebook message you and suck your dick and fucking, what I mean, and do all that.
What is that
like,
worth?
Great, you're getting a lot, sure, but like, I mean, it's just I don't.
Do you think that is like an emotional maturity thing though? In like, I'm not sure. Like, obviously, I'm not a battle rapper. I haven't engaged in that scene at all. But like, do you think that like when people are jumping into it, I suspect they're a little
yeah, well, that's
younger
what people want.
Whatever.
Because a video comes out, they get instant gratification from it.
Sure, but then when they're younger, it's like the ego is like a little like it's stoked a little better. But then you get older and you realize, well, hold on, what am I contributing? What is my
that's the evolution. I think everybody kind of starts with wanting to do that, right? And then obviously there's a spectrum to the levels of quality that people have, right?
Sure.
And then certain people break out due to that where they sit on that spectrum,
right?
But with battles,
But like to see the community in the battle rap thing is probably harder than to.
Well, yeah. When I started, for sure, it was for recognition. I wanted to put my words and my brain out in the world, and I wanted to get positive feedback.
Yeah.
And to do so, you got to tear down other people.
Yeah. But it's
not really. I think that's reduction.
I mean, I think that's surface. It's a surface level. It's a surface level way of doing it. And anybody who walks into that room goes like, "Oh, these guys." But like, if you take the time to sit down and understand and talk to some people, you'll see that it's really not about that.
I think,
and it was like when Bender passed away, and I talked to guys who were like, who people who may have complained or had negative attitudes beforehand, and then they see the community come together in that situation like that, and then I go like, you see how the battles don't really mean shit.
I see.
Like what you get out of this, you know, like it has nothing to do with like you get some views.
I kind of take back my comment when I meant.
No. I'm not even to be offended. Like I don't meant to characterize it like I'm offended or anything. But the guys, it's just that's what it's for, man.
Yeah,
that's what you're gonna get. That's the tangibility you get from this. You're never gonna get rich. You're never gonna get anything. You're gonna have a couch to sleep on any country country in the world.
You're gonna make great friends, lasting, long lasting.
You're gonna do that. If I pass away, I'm gonna live forever. That's
immortality.
Yeah,
that. I mean, you brought up the passing of Bender, and I obviously I wanted to ask you about it, but you also don't want to be crass about it and like
I don't know if you have
hard segue.
Context for the listener.
Oh, I should. Okay, sorry. Yeah, sometimes I take a lot of liberties with our listeners and viewers, but recently one of the greatest writers in battle rap and like
just a writer. I always say Bender was a guy that if he was. I was telling Ilmac when I was in LA the past weekend, I was like, man, you're a guy that's great at writing raps.
Yeah.
Undeniably.
Yeah.
Bender was a great writer that chose to write raps.
Yeah, right? his I saw a sample of a short story that Nameless put up, and about like a mosquito or something like, and just the path of this mosquito, and it was so beautifully put together. Yes. And I read this little like excerpt of it, and I thought I was like, wow, man, there's just so much I didn't even know about the guy, and I'm not gonna pretend like I knew him or something. No, like that. I purely just saw it from a distance, but like
nobody had an impact.
He had such an impact, and he would his bars are the kind of thing I would put on for people like his whole Sorry Player trilogy. Like I would show.
He had the best one against me. That's my favorite one.
I mean, even that is insane that you are connected to that. You know what I mean? Like in that regard.
That's what I'm so grateful for, man. Like I am so grateful. Like that I got to share a moment with him. That I got to walk with him. At a moment, regardless of anything that fucking happened between a battle or winner or loser or anything like that. It's like that's so good.
Do you have a specific memory, maybe even the one you just
with Bender?
That something that you
no, man, honestly, like my favorite, like I would have been, before that, and I posted about it on Facebook. I don't expect your listeners to know me on Facebook, but about a year and a half ago, and for those who don't know, Bender passed away about 2 weeks ago, and he was the guy who was the King of the Dot champion before I was, and I took it from him in a battle that was, I guess, widely considered one of the better KOTD championship matches stuff and things. And like it's a highlight in my life, man.
I could say as a fan that of the title matches that were, especially in that era, like as title matches were progressing, that felt like a clash. Like that was a major like couldn't call it for sure. Awesome,
and I'm so happy that I have that. I have a classic with them. Yeah. Like, and that's
instant classic.
And that's I mean, all you can ask for at the end of the day for it. But where were we going with that?
Well, I was asking about your if you had a memory.
Oh yeah, that's right. So yeah, I mean, that being an amazing one, but personally, and a lot of people I'm sure can identify with that. But personally, Bender is. He dropped by my house about a year and a half ago. He was on tour in Calgary, and I picked him up in the morning from his hotel, and he came and spent the day at my house with me, and we're like hanging out and whatever. Like that's the way kind of battle works. Like you find out you're in a city, you hit up a guy like you're the main dude, and you're like, go kick it for the day, and you become best friends.
Before
you know what I mean?
Battled each other?
No, not even before. Like just if you're randomly in the city, or you're doing this, or you're doing that. Like people have a layover for 8 hours, and we'll go pick them up and kick it and smoke weed for the day, and then drop them back off. It's just it's this lifestyle of it. You know, it's just the way it's the brotherhood of it, right?
Because a lot of people don't understand that. Like
cool.
We're all friends, we're homies.
Yeah, like you're hanging with someone who literally views the world you do and uses the same
in the same way.
That's a very rare.
Of course,
right?
exactly.
Not everyone knows how to.
And we found each other through the internet and all these places. So it's really fun when we get to hang out. So Bender came to my house and spent the day with me, and my son was there, and my girlfriend were all hanging out. And my son was like on top of it, like it was summer, and he was like lying on the grass with his shirt off. Bender was, and
Bender who was a big guy.
Yeah, he's a big guy. Yeah, he's so funny, man. And my kid was like lying on top of his chest like that, like, and he is one and just over one at the time. Probably like 15 months or something.
Yeah.
And was like picking stuff out of Bender's beard and out of his nose, and Bender's talking to him like, you finding anything in there and stuff? And I remember just looking at it like, look at this guy, and like he's just
having a time.
Yeah, this is great, look at him. And Yeah, exactly, and just having a blast, right? And we laughed about battle rap, and we talked about politics, we talked about art, talk about lots of things, science and whatever that we would follow. We were both really big into the futurism subreddit and stuff, and like.
Oh, me too.
Yeah, exactly. Sick.
Part two,
and Glitch in the Matrix subreddit's
one
of my favorites, so we'd
so
always
funny.
read it and shit. Yeah, it's so sick, man. So we would always talk about that stuff, and then all the way to things about battle rap to what would happen if battle rap venues had menus or food, and they had battle themed menus, and we like came up with all these like names like chicken fingers and like the sketch breakfast and like and the grilled cheddar cheese and shit and the Matt Daly soup and stuff and just like we're coming up with funny names and stuff.
It's like a Calgary.
That's my favorite memory of Bender.
That's really cool, man. See, that's exactly what I wanted to hear.
Yeah, that's fun.
And I know that you recently got some memorial ink.
Yeah,
for
I'll show
Bender.
it for the camera.
Yeah, please, because this also plays into friend of the show, Uncle Gabe actually did this tattoo.
Uncle Gabe did this. Yeah.
I don't know if C-Mart. I don't know if you know this.
There you go, camera people.
Right there.
Nice. So that's a track that Bender did called "When the Satellites Fall."
Yeah.
That's there's mostly in when battle rappers make music and people tell you that their album dropped and it's like your homie and whatever and they're like, oh yeah, sick, and you get ready to like pretend to like it. And
allegedly.
This is why I like sketch.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's the way it is. What do you want me to say, bro? I live in the world. You live in the world. You know.
Good, yeah.
And Bender was one of those guys that like I pre-ordered his albums, his CDs. I think that he was amazing. I could quote his music for days. I think that I'm a huge fan of Aesop Rock. I bought his lyric book, and not even because listening to him can be a little bit abrasive at times, but just in terms of what that guy puts down is like, God damn, do you understand the English language? And Bender was one of those guys that just like
mastery.
Bender was so prolific.
Yeah, he really was,
so
man.
Prolific.
He really was. He would take things and do things that I would never even imagine of putting together, rhymes that I would never imagine of putting together. It's really
just insane mastery of just like a wordsmith to every sense of the word.
Yeah, and then, like what I was saying before, he could have been a writer. He would of any sort. Right, he found rap. He particularly identified with rap for whatever reason, but he would have been a writer for any sort. And his sister Christy, shout out Christy if you end up coming around this podcast, recently has been uploading footage from Bender rapping in the mid 2000s, 2003, 2004, 2005 to her YouTube page, and it's just like the shit is so ahead of its time. It's incredible. And it's sad that we remember people like that after death for it. So I'm glad that everybody in the scene is very like, there's been a lot of love in the battle scene recently. A lot of people reminding each other that they love each other, that they respect each other, that their art is good and like whatever. And it's not so much with hate and like just kind of remembering the World Dom 2 days and stuff.
Yeah,
and, having fun.
I totally get what you mean. There's a vibe there. I appreciate you. Thanks for sharing that.
No, thanks, man. I appreciate it.
Cool.
No, I appreciate it.
It's very open, especially because I know it's definitely hard.
No, it's cool. No, it's cool. It's like it's one of those things, man. You get older, people end up going, and you like it's like they're sad and they're hard to deal with, but like you got to take solace in seeing what the ripple that he caused in the world, right? You're just like that's what the point to doing all this is.
Yeah, why?
Yeah. Right? You want to be remembered.
Legacy.
He said in one of his songs, it would be the only thing that I quote because I could do it forever, but he said something about. Something about I lost my house key drinking on a stoop with Charles Bukowski, so I write it down and spread my message like an epidemic in my best attempt to convince the world it's lost without me. And it's like, and it's like,
nice.
Charles Bukowski bars, you know what I'm saying? Like, yo,
Charles Bukowski, bro, like post office.
I know, like dude,
ham in the rye, dog.
Dude.
He put me on to Charles Bukowski after we battled. We talked after we
Really?
Yeah.
See, that's a little bonus, man.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? Just thinking about that now, yeah.
I really appreciate you saying that because I never had the opportunity to meet him or engage with him directly, but I think we had maybe one Facebook convo.
He would have given you the time of day.
Yeah, I was just like, hey man, that was cool, and he's like, yeah, thanks man.
I guarantee it.
He's just super chill, but yeah, definitely
funny as hell too,
dude.
His Facebook page was classic. Classic. I remember when he used to post videos of his mom being hella worried about Big T. because for whatever reason, when they battled, like his mom, I think they were living together at the time, him and his mom or something, and you could tell Bender's mom's was like a really mommy mom, you know, like always
take care of the clan.
Yeah, take care of everybody, and stuff. Yeah. And then so like Bender was like filming her while she was like making something or whatever, and she was like, "Do you think Big T's mom's make some sandwiches?" And Bender's like, "I'm sure, maybe, I don't know, like maybe." And she's like, I would just hope that Big T's mom would make some sandwiches and stuff, and it just seemed it was like the cutest, funniest video of all time, you know what I mean? And it was just a testament to how, like, look at his image in battles, right? And then he would post that on his Facebook and stuff. And then people wouldn't do that because they think it would take away from his character, but I think it added to Ben's character.
100%. Absolutely.
100% it did.
Especially in retrospect.
100%. But even at the time, I was like, I never looked down on you for doing that.
No, of course not. No,
you know
no,
what I mean?
No.
Like, it's like...
But that should serve as a reminder.
Exactly.
It's better to be honest.
Yeah, be with you. Yeah. Exactly. I tell all these kids now that we put on for battles now that are like, we're giving you a shot because you were you. So the worst thing that I can see now is for you to come up here and waste that opportunity being someone else.
Yeah.
Like,
do you. False.
Do you. Like, don't think that you reached this certain point so you have to play on this level. Like, you're supposed to you're supposed to bring you to the table. That's the point. We want to see you on the table.
It's not imitation.
You know? God damn it, Sketch, putting down gems. I'm sitting over here, I'm just like, I'm rethinking my own shit. Right? I'm like, fuck. Back to the fucking.
It's from the outside looking in, man. But it's like, I struggle with the same things. Like with Future Grownup, I'm not the only guy behind that. I have 3 other partners in that are there specifically because I don't trust my own bias.
Yeah.
And it's just
the team.
And not everything that I like about battle rap or skateboarding or smoking weed is going to go great into this or go great into that. And like, there's a mechanism and a tool for everything.
Quick segue into skateboarding, really quick, only because we have the Dumbfounded show to check out. Down
totally.
The street.
We gotta go really quick.
It's about 5-2.
We're cool.
We'll wrap this real quick here, but just quickly because
I can say for 5 extra minutes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, the skateboarding aspect of this is really interesting to bring up because Avocado recently put up
it's my favorite piece of battle content.
I love this. Okay, so walk me through how this happened because I don't even really know how this went down. I watched the Dirtbag Dan show where he talked about it. And
we talk shit all the time. For the past several years, Dan and I have talked shit about skating.
And Dan,
there's not many skaters in the scene.
No. So just to set this up, two pretty well-known battle rappers shit talking about skateboarding, then meet up and actually are gonna do a skate. So people don't know, it's kind of like, I guess, like horse.
Yeah, it's exactly like horse.
Yeah. So like, you get a
letter.
Play
tricks, flatland tricks.
Yeah. And if you're listening to this, you don't know what I mean. It's like they trade tricks back and forth, and if you can't do the other guy's trick, then you get a letter until you spell the word skate, and then you lose, basically. But this is really interesting because it's I don't even know how to what is the comparative value of this?
Well, I don't know, man. The story is that Dan and I have always talked shit back and forth because we were the only skaters in the scene. Yeah. Friendly, like over Facebook, like nice 3 flips, pussy. Yeah. You know what I mean? And like stuff like that, and just joking around and whatever. And like he'd be like, and I'd be like, and like cute in your little mini ramp, and whatever. Yeah. And but I've always all skating is like I love meeting skaters that are still out there, especially older guys like me that are still out there trying to skate, right?
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to throw myself down 20 sets anymore, but like I'm still trying to have fun,
Yeah, totally.
And so we would always talk shit, and then I did the Ruin Your Day Bender Memorial episode in LA,
right?
And I stayed at Avocado's house for that, and he was the one who invited me out to be a part of that, and because they wanted Canadians involved, and we had done the battle before, blah,
of course,
blah, blah.
Yeah.
And then he was like, "Oh man, Dan's gonna be out. Bring your skateboard." And I was like, "Bro, I haven't been out all season."
So that was your board.
Not an excuse.
Yeah, that was mine. Yeah,
okay, because that was another thing too. I was watching. I was like, I wonder if this is Sketch's actual board.
Yeah, I brought it out. I brought it out.
Okay,
and everything. Yeah.
So you had to check that.
Yeah, it was like we brought it all out and everything. I knew that it was and totally. And I went out. I knew the week of. I went out twice that week.
Yeah,
it was the first time.
I was like freshened up.
I was like, all right, man, we're gonna film me skateboarding. I guess.
Yeah. Which is even that's interesting because it's like
try to kickflip this
But it was fun, And I gotta say, to be completely honest, I was nervous. Leading up. I was nervous before, I would be a battle, and I don't know why. Looking back on it, I think
it's pretty obvious though.
Well, it's healthy though,
dude.
It's the funnest.
When have you ever done that?
Yeah, it's the funnest. Man.
If you've never done anything,
and
it's like you're like, look, I don't want to freak you out, but this is going to be on the internet forever.
Yeah, totally. Exactly. Like, I don't care about that. It's just more about, like, I don't know. And I worried about, like, oh, am I going to be good or like these things? And I went and I look at the video now and I go, like, that was so fun.
Yeah, it was rad as fuck.
Yeah,
I love it. The best.
And I think the fun really comes out.
I love when Dan was chirping when you're like, I love when you're like, I guess that's like half my bag. And then he's like, is that your milk bag? You milk drinking motherfucker. I love that. It's so fucking good.
We got some other tricks too that we didn't catch on footage that day. We were skating around there too. I got a lot of stuff. So we're going to do some more skate stuff.
Good.
Yeah, more skate stuff. So skating's just something that like I try and do on Friday, Saturday nights, like after 9 p.m. when like all the kids go and like there's a bunch of 30-plus-year-old guys just kind of hanging out,
around,
smoking weed.
A couple rippers just rolling.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, the cool thing was though, like, it's like I didn't really know that you got down like that. You know what I mean? So I was like, damn, it was cool to watch. Just, I don't know, I love skateboarding. Can't skateboard, but I've always been a fucking fan, like watching from a distance.
Yeah, skateboarding's like my love of my life, man. I love it so much.
Cool.
Yeah. That's the thing that I think battle rap is very similar to skateboarding in the way that skateboarding attracts a huge but very diverse demographic, very similar but diverse demographic of kids. Yeah. Whether it be from punk rock or kids, or there's gay kids that I know that hang out at Millennium that are so good, right? Like that, it's just people from all over the world that identify with this weird thing, that look at flipping a board around in a weird way or in their own way, right? And if you're at the skate park, I don't care if you don't know how to ollie or if you're 3 flipping over a barrel, like you're just if you're working, you're good there.
As long as you're not getting in people's way, I think.
Sometimes, yeah, exactly. Of course, yeah. Like if you're doing your thing, if you're a part of it, if you're there and you're like, you're good. You're good. You don't have to worry about anything.
You don't have to.
And if somebody comes and fucks with you, you're good. The rest of the park has you. Like 100%. If you're a local, like, and you're there, that's like, and that's a loyalty that you can, that a lot of people can't find in this world, man. No, like 100%. And battle rap's similar in that way, where I think that it attracts a lot of different people into one art form, right? That allows us to celebrate our differences in a really weird, like skateboarding is just all about traveling, and this kid being from here and grew up skating on these types of streets, and this was his environment geographically, whatever. Same thing with rap, and like just, you know, I think that the two have a ton of overlap.
Did you chat with Uncle Gabe, aka Stacey Gabriel? Did you chat about skating?
Yeah, a little bit, man. I was like, I mean, he's good
because he's
super fucking good.
He's like because like he's probably the most pro dude I know. Like,
dude, he's super fucking good.
Yeah,
he was like, so when I got the tattoo from him, we were talking, right, and whatever, and everything.
I know, 'cause he's so humble.
Well, I know, and I was looking at his decks and stuff. So obviously he's good, you know what I mean, whatever. And from seeing that, like, not you don't get that if you're not good.
You're like, oh, it's a lot of kitsch boards, and he's
like,
he's like, yeah, they're my sponsor. And
you're just like at knees, eh?
You're like, totally for tattooing. He's like, no. Like when I was, he's like, I am a pro skateboarder.
Yeah, that's awesome,
you're like,
right?
what the fuck? Like, yeah. Because usually, and
you're very coy about it, right?
Yeah. Well, this is almost actually kind of this applies to you as well. But it's like someone who's like really good at one thing, and it's like you recognize them on the surface for that, and then you're like, oh, you do this as well? You're like, what the fuck?
It's like, of course you would be, like, actually, now that I think about it.
Yeah. And then you're like, is it fair that you're allowed to be this good?
Yeah, totally. At two things. You dick. Yeah, totally. There's people out here with nothing.
Yeah, exactly.
But no, he's super good. So the day I was like, I'm gonna go skate later. I was like, does it matter if I go skate after I get this tat? And he's like, oh no, you're good or whatever. And I saw him at the park, and him and his homies were playing skate or doing some stuff or whatever. I saw a couple of things that they were doing. I was like, I'll be over there, man. Like, not doing that. Working on my back shoves. You know what I mean? And
he's like, take this second skin. And put it on you. You're like, oh fuck yeah, exactly. That's good. Bro, I could seriously fucking talk to you.
Oh man, well, I'll come back another time when we have more time, dude.
Oh, I love that.
Maybe next week.
We have bro, seriously?
Monday?
You back to back it like that? Actually, next week we have there's a lady.
Yeah, you know what? Let's do one next week because I want to promo the event that we have coming up in Vancouver. Yeah, let's do one next week.
We'll do next week. Okay.
Can I bring Sparka here?
Of course. I haven't even. Actually, that's not true. I saw Sparka at the December event. I was there. Yeah.
Can me and Sparka come and talk about the event?
I don't see why not.
Monday?
Yeah, come on in.
That'd be beautiful.
Yeah, come do it.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, cool.
Done.
We'll sort that out. I think things are rad. Let's go check out the Dumbfounded show.
Awesome.
People want to follow yourself.
Yeah, so on Instagram, I'm at Zach Menace, Z-A with an H. I'm not gonna,
like Zachary.
Exactly. Zachary Menace. Zach Menace with an H. Instagram or Twitter, Sketch Menace, Facebook, all that, whatever stuff. For Future Grownup, if you want to follow us on Instagram, that's just at Future Grownup, and our website's futuregrownup.com. Either or, you can get all of our content. We have a drop coming up that I'm going to be starting to announce and roll out March 31st, which I'm pretty excited for. So follow us and do all that stuff. And
that's so cool.
Yeah, I've been working hard for the past little while since I got here.
Dude, I love all the ideas we were chatting about.
Yeah, it's awesome.
I really do.
We're gonna keep her going.
Them.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you're so inclined, we'd really appreciate it if. Probably fucking shout out the sponsor. God damn. Ladies and gentlemen, before you go and check out intergalacticinterviews.com, we would really appreciate it if you'd go ahead and look at our sponsor. They're so amazing. They've been sponsoring us for almost, I think it's almost like 2 years now.
At least,
right?
We're almost approaching 3.
Yeah, they're super good to us. Ladies and gentlemen, please go and check out floathouse.ca. If you go to Floathouse, if you go to that website right now, you're going to find yourself at the premier isolation tank destination in the lower mainland.
I'm about this place, man. I'm in here right now going, I love floats, man.
So good,
nice.
man. Yeah, you floated before?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I smoked DMT and then I went for a float one time.
Allegedly.
Yeah.
This guy's bout.
No, it's very, very cool.
Yeah, not
just allegedly.
Very not confirmed.
There's nothing illegal about doing DMT before.
Yeah. You're like possessing?
I'm not currently possessing DMT, so we're good. Unless it's in my
if you want to get 20% off your next float.
Oh, I'm with it, really?
Oh yeah. Hey, thanks. That was a nice tag team. He's like,
awesome.
oh, if you want 20% off your next float, though, you want to use our podcast promo code II Podcast. That gets you 20% off your next float. It's a fantastic deal. Thing I love the most about it is it's such a tranquil, easy way to spend like 90 minutes. It's super chill, relax. You get your own private shower.
Yeah, how often do you have an opportunity to turn your phone off and just lie there? And man, I see fireworks shows in my head.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, we could talk about that for a minute.
Dude, yeah.
Seriously, my first experience was like a complete time travel.
And you know what's crazy is like I found that like when I started to see the fireworks and stuff, I would be like, oh, sick, and I'd start to focus on it, and then it would go away. Yeah. And it's like this is definitely a skill.
That's it. It's a mental. It's holding
and it's
on
like you
and
gotta
relaxing.
exactly. It's like looking at one of 3D painting.
Yeah,
that's what I mean. It's
a sailboat.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a schooner.
It's like I don't see it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Mr. Pitt.
It's like that though. You have to like relax and then let go, and people that are like, what if I'm claustrophobic? Will I like it? You'll love it. Honestly, it's one of the best things. In fact, it's been proven that it's one of the best things you could do as a claustrophobic to release that kind of tension in your life, because there's no lying in there. That's my favorite part. It's like you can't lie to yourself in there.
Yeah.
It's like once you're in there, there's nothing. You just get to be alone with you. You can sit in there for 90 minutes and lie to yourself if you want. But like the best stuff is like it's basically having.
You think, man.
Yeah.
Think.
The most intense thinking, and some people are like, I don't want to go there in my head.
Some people, like, why are you afraid of it?
That's like, why are you afraid? I'm like, you know what? You're not afraid of the silence. You're afraid of the progress.
I feel you, dude.
You know the progress is going to rock you. So, ladies and gentlemen, please check out floathouse.ca. Use our podcast promo code II Podcast. That was the best ad for this by far.
That was good.
That was good.
Straight truth.
Yeah, and if you guys are so inclined, we really appreciate it if you guys would subscribe, like, and follow us. Go ahead and check us out. Uniform all across the board. Intergalactic interviews. We're fucking pretty much anywhere you can access with Google, you dumb-dumbs. And we have dumb-dumbs.
I like it. D-U-M.
D-U-M.
Yeah. I didn't want to get all fucking vulgar, you know. I didn't want to say that. Listen, I wanted to thank Sketch. Zach, thank you very much for coming in.
Oh man, Jayme, thank you for having me. Absolutely.
You're a good fucking guy. C-Mart, how can people follow you?
Not a thing.
Perfect. And ladies and gentlemen, we love you all, and we'll see you all next week with you.
Absolutely. Monday. Me and La Sparka.
Let's do it.
The party conductor.
Yeah, bro. Okay.
Party conductor.
I love it.
That is Sparka.
It's ominous.
Wait till you see it.
He's fucking good.